Hey, Dean, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Rachel?
Good, I'm
Good
very
to
good.
finally meet in person, or at least
Yeah, for
virtually, at
sure.
least.
I don't know if we have actually.
No,
That's
I don't think so.
yeah. I was gonna introduce you if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
okay. I
problem.
was just gonna read your. I have a bio, like a short bio here.
Okay, cool.
So I was gonna read that, and just I wanted to make sure you're all set up.
Yeah, yeah, looks like everything's all good.
All right. Amazing. See, we have a person in here, I think. So we have about 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
Hmm. So how are things?
Yeah, so yeah, it's good. Just the whole working remotely thing is kind of a that human contact thing is not there, but we all got to adapt, I guess, right? How about yourself?
Same. I'm adapting.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's been interesting. So how do I say your last name?
Kulaweera.
Kulaweera. All right.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, perfect. You said it first. You can't.
Kulaweera. All right. Normally, I'm not good at that. So
Okay, okay.
I see we have some people in here. So
Hey,
if
hey,
you're in
Alex.
session with Dean and I, you can definitely say hello. We'll get started in about 4 minutes, I guess, Dean.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
Perfect. I see Megan. Hi, Megan. So if you're in the session now with Dean, there is a session tab on the right-hand side. So if you have any questions, are you taking questions at the end of your presentation, or are you gonna kind of you can see the questions, right?
I don't see any. Oh, actually, sorry, I was on the wrong. Oh no, I'm on
No.
the right tab. No, I don't see any. I only see Alex's comment.
But you can see the
Yeah, I
comments,
see
right?
the
So
chat.
if
Yeah,
anyone wants to ask questions, I guess they can put them in
yeah,
there.
sure,
Or yeah, okay, great.
sure. Yeah.
Hello, Yan. This is a new function. We can see who. Can you see who's entered the session?
Yeah, I do see that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a new
that's
function.
pretty cool. Okay.
Oh, hi, Megan. How are
Hey,
you?
Megan, how's it going?
Yusuf. Amazing. So we'll get started in a few minutes, everyone. Mauricio, hi. I think we're going to have a good bunch today.
Yeah.
So weird having to that we can't see them.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. We'll get started in a few minutes. Maybe if you want to add what type of position you're looking for. Dean's a superstar, job search coach, IT recruiter, well connected,
Yeah,
Maybe you
yeah,
want to add
absolutely.
what type of position you're looking for. Maybe someone on this chat knows someone that's, looking for a software developer or saw a company looking for it. So it's a good idea to just put maybe what type of position you're looking for or what you're looking to gain out of the session today or something of that nature. Hi, Lisa. Engineering. All right. So Yusuf is engineering.
All right, cool.
I mean, you can get started at any time. I'm sure people will just start to kind of trickle in.
Yeah.
You want to get started now? I'm going to do your bio anyway, so probably
Yeah, sure, sure. I'll
do
do
it
so.
now. So
That's
I'm
fine.
Rachel, and I am the Director of Business Development for TorontoJobs.ca. So just wanted to thank everyone for being here and introduce our fabulous speaker, Dean. He is an IT recruiter turned job search coach, and he specializes in the recruitment of IT professionals in organizations ranging from startups to large-size multinational corporations seeking IT talent across the GTA. In addition, his primary function as an IT job search coach, Dean is a very active content creator on LinkedIn, which I know you're fabulous at
Thank
it,
you. Thank
Twitter,
you.
Instagram, and his own podcast. Oh, I didn't know you had a podcast.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Ah, very cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting. What's it? Does it have the podcast have a name? Is it what's it?
Yeah. It's called Conversations with a Tech Recruiter.
Awesome. So he has a
Yeah.
podcast. So you'll have to put the link in there so we can
Yeah, for
find
sure.
it. I didn't know that. That's amazing. Where he posts a variety of content pertinent to job search and recruiting cycles to help job seekers in their quest for employment. He's built a following of 27,000. You have 27,000 people on your LinkedIn?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, Dean. That's so
Yeah.
everyone will have to connect with Dean after this.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Dean's a graduate of York University with an honors of BA in information technology. So podcast, LinkedIn, everybody has to connect with you. I'm sure you'll go through that, but I'm going to sign off and leave you to it. I just wanted to introduce you and thank you for being here.
Thanks so much, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, folks. So welcome to all of you to my session. And again, a quick shout out again to TOTECH and TorontoJobs.ca for inviting me again as a speaker. I always really enjoy presenting at these events and getting to meet and connect with so many great people. So folks, if you haven't done so already, make sure you introduce yourself in the comments. Again, I want you to take advantage of this as a great opportunity to network with each other and make new friends and make new connections. That's always very important. So make sure you do that in the comments. Now, what I'm going to be speaking about today is 5 reasons why you need to be incorporating follow-up into your job search strategy, right? So everyone's got a job search strategy, a methodology, an approach that they have when they're kind of attacking their job search. So I'm going to be talking specifically today about 5 reasons why you need to be following up. And the reason why my presentation is more so focused on convincing people to do follow-up is, in my 8 years working in recruitment, and now as an IT job search coach, follow-up is probably one of those things I feel a lot of people are hesitant to do. So my task today on today's presentation is I want to convince you, all of you folks, as to why you need to be following up. Now, while I'm going to be opening up my presentation shortly, but in the meantime, I'm very curious to find out from all of you tuning in, what is your idea of follow-up? What is your definition of follow-up? I want you to briefly explain and put that in the comments just so I get an idea. I want to just take a quick evaluation of what everyone's idea is of follow-up. So if you can do that in the comments, that would be perfect. And I'm going to open up my presentation. I'm going to get started. So you should be able to see my screen. And if you don't, just feel free to give me a heads up. And I'm going to start my presentation. Can someone also confirm if my screen is visible? Okay, perfect. Thanks, Alex. I appreciate that. So yeah, folks. So I want everyone to confirm in the comments, or just put in the comments, what is your idea of follow-up? What is your personal definition of follow-up? What do you think follow-up entails? I want you to put that in the comments and let me know. This is not a session where I'm going to be like, hey, you're wrong. You're not. This person's right. This person's wrong. Nothing like that. This is more so for me to take a look at what everyone's understanding of follow-up is. So without further ado, today's session, I'm going to be speaking about 5 reasons you need to be incorporating follow-up during your job search. So again, my name is Dean Kulaweera. And again, thanks everyone for tuning in. And I'm an IT recruiter turned IT job search coach. For more information about myself, feel free to check out my website. It's www.deankulaweera.com. So just a quick about me for those of you who might not be aware of me. Or who I am. So I've spent 8+ years working in the staffing industry as an IT recruiter. I've been posting job search tips since 2016 on social media, and I've grown an especially significant following of 28,000 plus on LinkedIn. I've recruited for a variety of organizations ranging from startups to large multinational organizations. I've been in recruitment cycles and negotiations with various stakeholders. So everyone from HR all the way through to C-level and founders and business owners. And the reason why I'm sharing all this is because I want you to know where my information, the knowledge that I'm sharing with is coming from, right? And what I'm sharing with you today is based on my experience working in recruitment on the other side of the table as a recruiter, someone involved in communication with all these various stakeholders in the hiring cycle. And because I was in the staffing industry, it allowed me the opportunity to work on so many different types of organizations, right? Because staffing agencies work with a variety of clientele. So just wanted to give everyone a heads up as to that's the basis of my knowledge, my experience, and what I'm going to be sharing with you today, okay? So what is follow-up? Now, I see a couple of comments here. I see Reshma, I think you shared your definition of follow-up. So firstly, shout out to Reshma. Good for you being willing to share that. So Reshma said, well, I guess after an interview is essential to follow up with the interviewees to primarily let them know that you're still interested in the role and that you're ready to go an extra mile to get that job. Yeah, absolutely. Great definition there, Reshma. Patricia says follow-up means investigate something further. Yeah, great job there, Patricia. I don't see any other comments. So, okay, so I already covered this, but I looked up the definition of follow-up on Merriam on the internet, right? And obviously, there's so many different definitions, but I picked out one of my favorite sets of definitions, which I got from Merriam-Webster, and I just wanted to share this with you because this is very fundamental for all of you in understanding the rest of this presentation and why I'm going to be pushing you hard to conduct follow-up in your job search. So the definitions are as follows, right? And this is the follow-up in terms of it being a verb, an action word, right? Number 1 is to follow with something similar, related, or supplementary. right? And the second one was to maintain contact with the person so as to monitor the effects of earlier activities or treatments, right? And number three was to pursue in an effort to take further action. So these were probably the most accurate definitions that I could find in relation to follow-up, the way that I understanding, the way that I have utilized it as a recruiter. I see another comment here from Dinta. Dinta says to remind the employer that you're still interested in the position. Absolutely, Dinta. That's a good one right there. So in the context of job search and my own definition, folks, this is how I define follow-up. And this is the definition I want you to keep in mind moving forward in the context of your job search and how you're going to be incorporating follow-up. And when you're thinking of those creative ways to follow up, right, I want you to keep this definition in mind. My definition of follow-up is communication, which builds up on a previous communication through showing continued value and interest in an opportunity while being a consistent presence, right? So there's a few components there. It's about building, it's almost like building momentum, right, from a previous communication. The previous communication could be a previous phone call. It could be your actual interview. It could be a video interview, whatever it is. The follow-up is building on that momentum, right? It's a follow-up. It's something that builds up on the previous action taken, the action being the follow-up previously or the communication previously. And the other component is showing continued value and continued interest. Now, a lot of you, quite a few of you mentioned the interest aspect in the comments. So good on you for those of you folks who understand that. So showing continued value and interest in an opportunity. And then the final component is while being a consistent presence. Now, this final part is where a lot of people don't really look at follow-up in that way. And I would say this is one of the most important components of follow-up is being a consistent presence. You want people to keep you in mind, keep you in top of mind for the opportunities you're interested in and you're pursuing, right? But I'm going to be speaking about that in a bit more detail further along the presentation. By the way, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to put in the comments. I will answer the questions at the end of the presentation, but I'm gonna keep pushing through, folks. So feel free to put your questions in the comments. So 5 reasons you need to be incorporating follow-up strategy into your job search. So if you're taking notes, this is the point where you definitely want to start taking notes if you haven't already. So 5 reasons, folks, why you need to be incorporating follow-up into your job search. Reason number 1, higher levels of competition, right? Obviously, needless to say, there's a lot of competition right now, given the amount of available talent on the market versus the available opportunities. So higher level of competition, right, for each of those positions and opportunities that you're applying for. Now, number 2 is varying decision-making speed. Right now, this might sound a little confusing, but bear with me. I'm going to talk about each of these in more detail moving onwards. But for now, I just want you to take some quick notes. So reason number 2 is varying decision-making speed, right? And again, I'm going to be elaborating on these further along. Number 3 is the state of confusion for hiring teams, right? Again, another big one. I'm going to be covering this in more detail. Number 4 is being proactive. Right, and number 5 is obviously showing interest, which we already some of you have mentioned that. Reshma, I see your question. That's a great question, and I'm going to cover that when we get to the Q&A part. All right. So anyone else has any questions, feel free to put in the comments. So competition, right? Obviously, the current market conditions means high levels of competition. So for a lot of you folks, you're applying for the roles, and correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of you're applying to the roles on LinkedIn, on Monster, on Indeed. And some of these platforms actually allow you to see how many applicants there are. And correct me if I'm wrong, most of the time you're going to be seeing maybe hundreds and hundreds of other applications, right? Depending on the role, depending on the skill set, depending on the organization. So you need to be keeping in mind that you're dealing with a higher level of competition in the market. Now I see Yusuf is saying that you're only seeing the first slide. Is that true? Can everyone see the slide I'm on right now? Right now, I'm on a slide that says competition. Can someone confirm you can see that in the comments? No slide? Okay, that's weird. I'm not sure what's happening here. Okay, that's strange. Okay, let me see if I can quickly fix this, folks. Apologies. Okay, does it show now? Does it show now? Okay, perfect. All right, perfect. All right, apologies for that, folks. So it looks like I'm not. There's an issue with doing the slideshow setup. So I'm just gonna run it through just like this, because I don't want that to affected. It's gone again. Okay, not sure what's happening here. All right, let's try this again. All right, can you guys confirm? Okay, perfect. All right, okay. All right, so I will just continue like this. Unfortunately, I can't do the whole transition animation thing for each bullet. So all of you are going to get a sneak peek of all the points I'm going to be speaking about, but I'll continue regardless. So for competition, obviously there's higher levels of competition, right? And there's more applicants per job posting, and even for the positions that are and even for the positions where you're interviewing for, chances are the organization might be interviewing more people, right? There's more because there's a higher level of available talent out there, which means there's a lot of talented people out there, including yourselves, right, on the market. So even for each position you're actively interviewing at, there's probably more candidates than usual that the organization is considering. So this is number one reasons. No, it's not a mistake. I mentioned this as reason number one. Follow-up allows you to stand out amongst the competition. Why? Because most people don't follow up, beyond maybe one or two follow-up contacts. So if you're able to stay in there, you're able to continue showing your interest, your value, what you can do for the organization. This is a strategy for you to, separate yourself and single yourself out from the high levels of competition out there, whether that's, hundreds and hundreds of applications, or if you're at the interview stage, all those other candidates that they might be considering for this position, right? So competition is one of the key reasons why you need to be incorporating follow-up into your strategy. And again, it's going to help you stand out against all those other candidates that might be in the interview process, who might not be following up beyond maybe one or two follow-up contacts, right? And I say one or two follow-up contacts, and that's based on my experience working in recruitment and also as a job search coach. Is most candidates give up after one or two follow-ups. So follow-up is something you got to do consistently, and it's over a period of time, right? So again, separating yourself from the competition, that's one of the main reasons why you need to be incorporating follow-up, right? Now, reason number two, speed in hiring decisions, right? Now, not all hiring teams make decisions quickly, folks, right? And this is reason number two as to why you need to be conducting follow-up. Not all hiring teams make decisions within that 1 hour meeting you have with them. Right, and follow-up allows you to accommodate those people who might be making decisions at various levels of speed, so to speak. Not everyone makes decisions the same way, right? I mean, I'm sure all of us who are present today in this session, and all of you who are attending this session, most of you probably, all of you probably make decisions in very different ways. I mean, there might be some overlap in terms of some things you do in similar and similar to each other. But for the most part, not everyone makes decisions the same way. So sometimes what happens is, and again, this is based on my experiences as a recruiter, working with a variety of different organizations and different types of stakeholders. Not everyone makes snap decisions, folks. Like not everyone is able to make a decision after meeting with a candidate just once for 1 hour. Now, there's definitely individuals out there that can meet someone for 1 hour and they know right away, okay, yeah, this person is definitely the person that we want to go with. And all of that. But then there's other individuals out there that might not be able to make a decision within 1 hour, right? And think of yourself as when you're making a decision. Are you always able to make quick decisions, or do you sometimes require more time? Do you experience uncertainty when you're making a decision? Are you under pressure in making the right decision? There's a variety of factors, right? Keep in mind that making a decision to hire someone, the individual making the hiring decision is placing all bets on their ability to make a good decision in hiring the right person, right? And everyone's had that experience of making a wrong decision and that resulting in setbacks for the organization, for the team, for the department, whatever the case is. So making a hiring decision, don't underestimate that it is kind of a high pressure kind of a situation for some people, right? Because the onus is on them to make sure that they're making the right decision. So again, you might require more than a couple of conversations before someone is confident to make a hiring decision. So this is why follow-up is extremely important, because look, there's going to be people that are going to meet with you and they're going to know right away, yeah, we definitely want to go ahead with this individual. But there's going to be others who require more information, more clarification. Maybe there's a lack of clarity in some respects with regards to the role or the position. So this is something you need to all keep in mind, right? That again, not everyone makes decisions at the same speed. So follow-up allows you to stick it out there and present yourself and keep putting yourself in front of the decision makers and the hiring managers, and offer to clarify anything that needs clarification, and if there's any further information required, and all of those things, so that you're in keeping in consistent contact, and you're accommodating the fact that the hiring manager, or the person on the other side on the hiring team, is not someone that makes quick decisions or rush decisions. So you want to be a consistent presence, and you need to be there to make them feel comfortable about making that decision about moving ahead with you, or possibly not moving ahead with you, right? So again, reason number 2 is not everyone makes decisions quickly. So you're part of your the use of follow-up is to ensure that you are there consistently throughout the decision-making process, no matter how long that decision-making process is. Now, obviously, if you find a different opportunity that's more interesting to you, and you feel like, okay, I'm not going to spend any more time on this, hey, absolutely. I mean, I'm not telling you to stick it in there, if stick it out there if you don't feel the opportunity is the right one for you. What I'm saying is, if it is, and you're still continuing your search and looking for other opportunities and interviewing elsewhere, my point is, you got to consider the fact that, again, not everyone makes quick decisions, folks. All right. So that's reason number 2. Not everyone makes decisions at the same speed. They don't make quick decisions. They might not be able to make a decision within one meeting. So you have to make sure that you're a consistent presence, you're keeping in touch, and you're there throughout their decision-making process, right? So I do see a question there from Raymond. So Raymond, I'm going to get to your questions at the end. But yeah, feel free to continue putting your questions in the comments, folks. Now, number 3 is the hiring state of confusion, right? A lot of hiring teams are in a state of confusion. Why? Because one major mistake I've seen a lot of organizations make, when I was in recruitment, is a lot of organizations interview way too many candidates, right? And especially right now, with the abundance of talent available on the market right now, guaranteed a lot of organizations are making this mistake where they're meeting so many candidates, so many great individuals out there, and they ultimately end up in a state of confusion. Like, they don't know who to go with. Who should they move ahead with? Who should they turn down? Who should they get more clarity from? Who should they get more information? Who should they set up additional meetings with or phone calls with to clarify things? A lot of hiring teams are in a state of confusion. So your task as a job seeker is, and again, considering the previous 2 points, right? High levels of competition, and not everyone makes a decision within one meeting. You need to position yourself as someone that's able to help get them out of that state of confusion. Now, this is a very important part of what follow-up accomplishes, because it allows them, the more you follow up, the more value add, the more interest you show, the more you're able to really clarify things, or share more ideas, or show how you can help the hiring team with their problem, with their project. The more you do that consistently over a period of time, it makes it easier for the hiring team to figure out whether they want to move you forward in the process or rule you out, right? Either way, it can happen either way. If you're a consistent presence, you're consistently in communication, you're clarifying certain things and all of that, at least it helps them decide if they want to move ahead with you or not. So consistently following up helps the hiring team get out of their state of confusion, because again, they're meeting with so many candidates. And again, as I mentioned before, most candidates are not following up beyond 1 or 2 follow-up contacts. So if you're following up consistently, and you're providing information, you're providing value, you're providing value add, you're providing clarifications for things they might feel uncertain about, you're providing clarifications on how you can help them specifically with their project. If you're doing that, and through your follow-up, you're helping them get out of a state of confusion that they might be in if they're interviewing like a whole bunch of candidates, right? So this is the number 3 reason why you need to be following up. Right. And now reason number 4, simply being proactive. Like, this is one of the things I personally love the most about follow-up. And this is something I've learned, being a recruiter and working in sales myself. You have to be proactive. When you apply for a position, you're waiting on a response, or you go for an interview and you're just waiting for a response. You're not in control. You're not influencing the outcome, right? You're simply waiting and hoping and maybe praying for a response. And hey, there's going to be times when luck is going to play its role, folks. Luck and chance and, the stars are aligned and all that stuff. That's definitely going to happen. But I don't want you dependent on that either. So by following up, you're being more proactive, right? So you're not just waiting for something to happen. You're playing an active role in contributing to an outcome. And as I put there in the second bullet, being proactive puts you in the driver's seat, and it puts you in the position of taking the initiative to get into communication, right? You're not waiting for a response. You're eliciting a response. You're influencing a response. You're helping to move things forward, right? So don't underestimate the importance of this. Now, some of you might be wondering, hey, Dean, well, isn't being proactive, isn't that like kind of annoying or being pestering and things like that? Well, you gotta conduct your follow-up in a way that's not coming across as overly aggressive or you're being too much of a pest or anything like that. So which goes to what I mentioned before, folks, right? Your follow-up should have value add. It should show interest. It should show the ability to clarify anything that might need clarification from their end or your end. It's about showing value, right? And if you're showing value, it's not really coming across as overly aggressive or annoying or being a pest. So while you're being proactive, you also need to do it strategically. There has to be a method to the madness. You're not just randomly doing that, right? So just keep this in mind. Now, going on to the next point, and the final point, the reason number 5 is, and a few of you already mentioned this, showing interest. Like when you're showing interest, and I mentioned this here in the bullet points, everything else being equal, folks, like everything else, like let's say, your skill set is equal to the other candidates they're considering, same level of experience, same qualifications, same educational background, same industry experience, all of that stuff. Everything else being equal, the hiring team will prefer and will go for the candidate showing the most level of interest or the highest levels of interest and enthusiasm for the position. So showing interest is one of the most key aspects of follow-up, because it shows interest, right? You're continuously following up. You're continuously getting in communication. You're putting yourself back in front of the hiring team. You're putting yourself back in front of whatever stakeholders are involved. You're offering clarifications. You're offering more information that will help them make a decision. You're showing interest. You're showing enthusiasm. And every organization absolutely loves individuals and people that are most interested in the position, because that just works out well for everyone, right? I mean, the candidate's happy, the organization's happy because they have an enthusiastic candidate that wants to work for them. Now, that's not the only thing that matters, obviously, but I'm saying it's a very important part because, again, the other aspects definitely do matter, right? Skill set fit, cultural fit, all that stuff, absolutely very important. What I'm saying is, assuming all of that is handled, right? They see you as the most valuable candidate for the position. The role will go to the person showing the most interest and enthusiasm. Now, that does not mean being desperate. I'm not saying be desperate, right? I'm not saying be desperate or act in such a way. There's a difference between showing interest and behaving desperately. Showing interest means that you're the person that is going to be able to help them with this project, with this role. You have utmost confidence that you have the right skill sets to solve whatever problem or pain points they're experiencing. And you're showing continued interest, right? That for a fact that you're the person that's going to help them out with this position. Desperation is, hey, I really need a job. Can you help me out? I got to do this. I got to do that. And, I'm just struggling right now. Can you help me out? Can you give me an interview? That's desperation, folks, right? So you want to step away from that desperation side of follow-up. You want to focus on your ability to add value. That's how you show interest, right? That's how you show interest in the position, the opportunity, the project, the pain points, how you can help them out with all that stuff. Then you become someone who's simply highly qualified. That's also very interested and enthusiastic about the opportunity, right? So big difference there, but very important thing to keep in mind, right? So those are the 5 reasons, folks. And I'm going to start wrapping it up here in terms of what I wanted to share with you. But again, to reiterate, and going back to the 5 reasons, again, number 1, again, 5 reasons you need to be incorporating follow-up into your job search strategy. Number 1, it's because of high levels of competition. You need to separate yourself in the marketplace because there's a higher level of competition right now. Number 2 is not all hiring teams, not all hiring managers, not all decision makers make quick decisions. Some people take some time to make a decision, and you want to make sure through your follow-up, you are right there in front of them when they are ready to make a decision, right? That's reason number 2. Number 3 is the state of confusion most hiring teams are in. A lot of organizations make the mistake of interviewing too many candidates, considering too many candidates, going through too many applications, interviewing too many people. And this ends up in hiring teams being in a state of confusion. They're confused about who to go ahead with, who to pass on, and all that stuff. So follow-up, being a consistent presence, consistently putting yourself back in front of the hiring team helps them, at least in regards to yourself, helps them get out of confusion, at least in regards to yourself, and figure out, hey, this person has been following up, they've been adding value, they've been showing their value, should we move ahead with them or not? At least you will provide them with the information required to get out of that state of confusion, right? Reason number 4, being proactive. I don't want you to, apply for jobs and then, passively wait for a response, or go for an interview and then passively wait for a final decision. Follow-up allows you to put yourself in the driver's seat, be more proactive, and take an active involvement in influencing the end result or the outcome. And reason number 5, showing interest. Again, folks, big difference between showing interest and versus being desperate or being a pest. Showing interest is about having confidence in yourself, your ability to solve the problem, your utmost conviction that you're the right person for the role, you're the person that they need for the position, and then continuously presenting yourself as the solution for whatever pain points they're experiencing or whatever project they need done, and all of that stuff. So showing interest, that's reason number 5, all right? So look, I hope this presentation was helpful. I'm going to get around to the questions shortly. Just a bit more about myself. So for those of you who need one-on-one job search coaching, you want to explore further how I can help you one-on-one, I'd be happy to offer a 30-minute complimentary discovery Zoom call to figure out the problem areas in your job search and see if there's any way I can help you. So feel free to go to my link over there. So it's www.deankulaweera.com/discovery if you want to schedule a discovery call with me. Number 2, I put out a lot of free content on social media, primarily LinkedIn, but also Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'm trying to figure out TikTok as well. Not doing too well on TikTok, but hey, I am on there as well. So if you want all my social media links, it's on my website right there. So again, it's www.deankulaweera.com/connect. And just a heads up on if you're connecting with me on LinkedIn is every week, not just LinkedIn actually, but every week on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, I go live. I talk about job search topics and I answer everyone's questions live on the live stream. And I live stream live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope. Yes, Periscope still does exist, and Instagram as well. So all my social media links, again, are on my website. So, feel free to add me, connect with me, follow me on any of those avenues. And then finally, I have a weekly free job search strategies newsletter I release every week. Feel free to subscribe. That's also on my website, www.deankulaweera.com/newsletter. All right. So hope this information was helpful. I'm going to keep this up here in case those of you want to write the website links down, but I'm going to go over the questions now so that I'm able to respond to everyone's questions. And feel free to put your questions in the comments, folks. It could be follow-up related. It could be general job search questions as well. I'm fine to answer whatever category you have in terms of your questions. So let's get to the questions here. So I've got a question here from, hold on. Where was that question? Yeah, I think it was Reshma. I'm just trying to find your question, Reshma. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go. So Reshma, your question was, there's a fine line between being interested for the role and nagging. How do you stay in the I'm still interested side of it? So fantastic question, Reshma. I love that question. And I kind of touched on it, folks, right? But how you avoid coming across as nagging or pestering is you got to think about things, realistically, right? If you're following up with someone every day, right? If you're following, let's say, I'm the hiring manager, you're following up with me today and then tomorrow and the day after and the day after that, yeah, you're probably going to come across a little bit of a pest, right? So you don't want to follow up in an unrealistic fashion like that. Now, the second thing you need to keep in mind, Reshma, is that in your follow-up, you should always include something of value to the person you're following up with. So my philosophy, and this is my philosophy as a recruiter and something I've always done, is I always offer value before asking for something in return, right? So offer something of value. So again, it could depend on the individual you're reaching out to. Share something of value to them, an article, a blog post, a video, a TED Talk, something that would be of interest to them. Offer something of value, and each of your follow-ups then does not come across as pestering or nagging or anything of that sort. And you're providing something of value, and you're demonstrating yourself to be someone that paid attention and is resourceful as well. So hope that helps, Reshma, but it's a great question. Yeah, folks, there's a very distinctive line between showing interest and being desperate or being a pest, right? So stay away from the pest side of things, all right? So hope that answers your question, Reshma. Other questions here. Let's see here. So I got a question from Raymond. So Raymond, shout out to Raymond. Raymond, your question is, I've been in a few situations where I interviewed, but other candidates get chosen for the role. Then later the role becomes available again. The problem is when I try to follow up, I don't receive a reply. Even if I reapply, that does not help either. Any ideas what to do here? Is it best to ignore and keep pursuing other opportunities? Is the employer no longer interested in my candidacy, even though I was promised they would keep me in mind for future open openings? Yeah, so Raymond, unless, so this is a great question, and a lot of people experience this actually, right? So it's not just yourself, Raymond, but in regards to follow-up, I guess there's 2 or 3 things I want you to remember, Raymond, right? Number one is continue following up until they explicitly let you know that, hey, this position is closed, or we've decided not to move ahead with you. Until they do that, until they verbally express that in emails or through a phone call or whatever, keep following up, Raymond, right? And the second thing is, it depends on how you're following up as well, right? If all you're doing in your follow-up is asking for, hey, do you have an update, or have you made a decision? That's what most job seekers do. But what are you including in your follow-up to really stand out, Raymond? What are you doing or mentioning to separate yourself from other candidates? What value add are you providing in your follow-up to really stand out, to really capture their attention, to show them that you're someone that's taking an active interest in their organization and how you can help them? So number 2 is, what value are you adding, folks, into your follow-up? That's important as well, right? Because simply the act of following up is not enough. It's also about what is encompassing the act as well. What are you doing in the action? What is the follow-up message? What is the communication? What is the structure? What is the value add? What is your message like, right? All these other factors matter as well. And then number 3, Raymond, is I want you to keep following up, but do not depend on just this opportunity either. While you're following up, folks, and this goes to all of you, not just to Raymond, but to all of you watching in, while I do advise you to continue following up until you get that solid rejection, you need to keep looking for other opportunities. I don't want you depending on a handful of opportunities. That's how people feel demotivated and depressed and down and all that stuff. When you're following up, you got all your hopes on a handful of opportunities, and they're not responding. That's when you start feeling depressed and down and out and all. And I know that because I've experienced that myself in the past. The trick is you got to keep looking for other opportunities, keep looking for other things, other opportunities out there that are going to get you excited, right? Because then you got something else that you can focus on. So while you're doing your follow-up, while you're continuing consistently with your follow-up, you're also keeping an eye out and learning about other new opportunities out there as well. So great question there, Raymond. Hope that helps. Lisa Huang says, should you follow up even after phone interviews? Yeah, absolutely, Lisa. You should definitely. By the way, kind of a brief follow-up schedule, folks, for all of you to follow. Within the first month of contact, right? This could be like phone interview or in-person interview. You should follow up once a week. Month 2, right? It should be once every 2 weeks. And then month 3 onwards, you should only follow up once a month. The importance of following up once a week in the first month is so that they remember you, right? Because you become your name becomes very familiar to them. They remember you. They know who you are. But if they don't get back within a month, you want to lower the priority level of the follow-up. So that's why I'm saying month 2, tone it down to once every 2 weeks. Then month 3 and onwards, follow up once a month, right? Now, some of you might be thinking, hey, what's the point, Dean, of following up after 3 months? Like, at that point, I should assume that they're not interested. Folks, I have given this advice to people, to candidates to do this. And I have, I've had candidates reach back out to me and say, hey, Dean, I consistently followed up over like 5-6 months. The company apparently had some kind of a budgetary constraints or something going on internally, so they couldn't make a decision. But because I was keeping in touch, because I was following up, they reached back out to me after like 5-6 months or something like that, and they offered me the job. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen for everyone, all of you out there. I'm not making any guarantees here. But the point is, you need to be a consistent presence, folks. Continue doing your follow-up. You never know. They might get back to you after a few months because there might be some things going on internally at the organization they can't talk about. They can't disclose to anyone. It's private, information. So keep that in mind. Don't think it's, they're ignoring you or something. Could be they're just busy with other stuff. So continue doing follow-up, right? So great question, Lisa. I hope that helps. We got a question from Jan. Jan says, I encountered similar situations before. I received an email to inform me that the hiring team will reach me very soon, but after a week or so, no one contacted me. I wrote back to follow up. They just told me I was not under consideration without any detailed explanation. Then they released the same roles after I applied, but no response at all. Yeah, so Jan, and actually, for the rest of you that this is happening, hey, folks, this is going to happen, right? So this is what, so don't let it get to you. Don't let it, negatively affect you. you got to keep pushing through, keep looking for other opportunities or new opportunities. Whenever I have personally, as a job seeker in the past, experienced these feelings of disappointment, is when I put too much of my hopes on a handful of opportunities. Right? There's a couple of opportunities out there, companies that really excite me, projects that really excite me, that I really want to work for, and I follow up with them and no response. I feel disappointed. I feel depressed. I feel down. I feel like they're being really unprofessional, and all of that could be true, right? Now the thing is, the trick that I learned, that I did, kind of a job search hack, is, hey, while I'm following up on these opportunities, I'm going to keep looking for other opportunities out there. I'm going to keep myself excited about other things that are going out there in the marketplace, right? Because folks, look, I know the situation right now with the pandemic. I mean, a lot of people are struggling right now, right? But look at where the opportunities are. There's a lot of opportunities out there. There's a lot of industries right now where there's a lot of action going on, and you folks have to look at where all the action is. Where's all the investments going? Where are all the money going? Where's all the the projects? That's where you got to be looking for your opportunities, by the way. I know this is a totally different topic. It's not to do with follow-up, but keep yourself excited, Jan, by continuously looking for other opportunities. So while you're following up, while you're doing your due diligence with whatever's in your pipeline, you're looking to add new opportunities to your pipeline as well. So keep looking for other opportunities, right? So hope that helps, Jan. Tayana says, what do we do after sending an email asking for a follow-up and get no response? Yeah, great question, Tayana. So again, month one, you need to be following up every week, right? So if this is within 1 month, just follow up again the following week, Tayana, right? And again, your message should include some kind of value add, something of value or of interest to the person you're reaching out to. That's how you got to stand out, right? Or refer to something from your conversation at the interview, something that you could connect with them on, right? And capture their attention. So follow up, folks, it's not a one-time thing, right? And by the way, just to share with you, like kind of an analogy, right? As someone working in the world of sales and recruitment, in the world of sales, and you feel free to Google this, by the way, don't take my word for this, but in sales, 80% of sales are made between the 5th to 12th follow-up. Between the 5th to 12th follow-up, folks, right? In sales, right? Now, although I haven't seen any studies conducted specifically in relation to the job search, I would assume the same principle applies to the job search. So you need to continue following up, folks. Don't give up after 1 or 2 follow-ups, because the money could be beyond the 5th follow-up onwards. So just keep that in mind. So I hope that helps, Tiana. Lisa said, that happened to me a few times too. I think they probably are not sure if they have enough funds to hire people right now, or they found another candidate. Yeah, it could be, Lisa, right? So your job at your end, folks, keep following up. So Ibrahim says, most jobs I find are from job boards. How are we supposed to follow up with those jobs, since it's simply an apply online thing? There's no email for the hiring manager or anyone from that hiring team. Any tips to find the correct contact email? Yeah, so Ibrahim, this is where you got to do some legwork, right? So if it's directly for a company, this is where you got to do your research. You got to go on LinkedIn, folks. Folks, the job search, look, I know some of you might be disappointed by what I'm about to tell you, but the job search is not an easy thing. It's simple. It's simple if you understand how to do it, but it's not easy. Like, you got to do some legwork. You got to do some stuff at your end, right? So Ibrahim, in your case, and not just for Ibrahim, but for everyone else out there, if you're applying for a job on Indeed or Monster, you know the company name and stuff. Guess what, folks? You can go on LinkedIn, look up the company, and then look up the employee list, and you got to do the legwork, right? Kind of like the old, it's kind of tedious, I know, but that's how you got to figure out who the potential stakeholders and hiring managers and hiring team might be. So that's how you got to identify the people, and that's how you got to, directly connect with them and then do your follow-up. So hope that helps, Ibrahim. Patricia says, what do we do after send an email asking for a follow-up and get no response? I think I responded to that question. I'm pretty sure I did, but yeah, keep following up, Patricia, right? You got to keep following up. Let's see, what other questions? Chintan says, would it be nagging if we continually follow up? What are the best samples for follow-up continuously? If you can provide 1 or 2 examples. Yeah, absolutely, Chintan. So I do provide a lot of, I've done a lot of content on this as well. So feel free to check me out on social media. My YouTube channel, go through my videos. I give a lot of examples of this. But a follow-up could simply be referring to something that was discussed in the conversation, right? Especially if it's after an interview, right? It could be in relation to some problem they're experiencing. You can say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Hiring Manager, I was just thinking about, you were telling me about pain point XYZ that you're experiencing. Came across this article, thought it would be useful for you. Let me know your thoughts. And by the way, I just want to let you know I'm still interested in the opportunity. Happy to share with you any further information you might need to help you make a decision or help you make sense of moving ahead with me. So simple as that, folks, right? You got to be creative and you got to think about what would be of interest to that person, right? And feel free to refer to things that you discussed in your conversation as well, right? So hope that helps, Chintan. Raymond says, thanks so much. No worries, Raymond. Jan says, thank you. No worries, Jan. Reshma says, if I was part of a group interview with a technical panel and no hiring managers or recruiters as such, how do I follow up or who do I follow up with the panel and the company email? Yeah, Reshma. So like I said, you got to do your research, right? So you got to research the panel, maybe look them up on LinkedIn, or while you're there, ask for their contact information, ask for their email addresses, and let them know that you're going to be following up, right? So folks, you got to take a proactive role, right? A lot of you who are job seekers, the reason why you're struggling is, first of all, nobody taught us how to job search. I was never taught how to job search, right? When I was in university graduating, when I was a new student, nobody taught me how to job search. I had all these skills, all this knowledge. So if you're struggling in your job search, don't feel bad. It's not your fault. But that's the importance of coming for sessions like this, right? And being involved in with such great organizations such as, TOTECH and Toronto Jobs that offer these opportunities for all of you to learn. There is a science to the job search, folks, right? So at your end, regarding your question, Reshma, like you got to do your legwork. You got to do your research. You got to research the people that you might want to, connect with and get their email address. You need to be taking a more proactive stance, folks, right? Proactive. The job search is not about you applying for roles and then crossing your fingers and waiting for a response. That is hope. That is not a strategy. There is a strategy behind conducting a successful job search, folks. So take a proactive stance. Don't be shy to ask contact information. Ask about the follow-up schedule from the interview panel itself when you meet with them. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? So take a more proactive stance. But yeah, Reshma, I mean, feel free to ask the hiring panel for their contact information and how you can follow up with them, right? So it's a very important part of it. Ibrahim says, I have tried to find companies on LinkedIn, but I usually find several people who are on the hiring team who work at the company. How do I know which person is the correct person? Should I just try to send all of them a message? Yeah, Ibrahim, unfortunately, sometimes, especially at larger companies, you can't really figure out who the hiring team is, right? It's much easier at startups and small size companies, right? Because, the titles, I mean, smaller companies is pretty easy to figure out who might be involved, who might not be involved and stuff like that. The larger companies that have, multiple divisions, multiple teams, so many different types of stakeholders and decision makers and people with different titles. Yeah, absolutely, Ibrahim. You might have to do some guesswork, right? But again, nothing ventured, nothing gained, folks. Like no one's gonna see your message and be like, oh yeah, this person messaged me because they're interested in working for a company, and they're not gonna get upset at that unless it's like an offensive message or something like that, which I'm sure all of you watching are not gonna do, right? But yeah, Ibrahim, you might have to do some guesswork here and there, right? You got to play the numbers game to a certain standpoint, folks, right? Think about this: if you identify 5 people. Let's say you're applying for 5 positions, right, at 5 organizations. If you identify 5 potential contacts at each of those 5 companies, that is 25 potential contacts, folks. Statistically, what's gonna get you results, right? Identifying 25 potential contacts at these 5 companies and direct messaging them, or simply applying for those 5 positions and waiting for a response. What's gonna increase your chances of getting a response and getting into communication, right? Might as well do the second scenario, right? Identifying 5 people at each of these 5 organizations and reaching out to them directly with an introduction and trying to get in touch. So hope that answers your question, Ibrahim. But yeah, you gotta sometimes make an estimated or educated guess. So hope that helps, Ibrahim. Chintan says, thanks, Dean. No worries, Chintan. So it looks like that's all the questions, folks. So look, thank you everyone for your time and attention. I hope everyone got a lot of great information out of this session. Again, if you want to learn more about myself, feel free to visit my website, www.deankulaweera.com. Definitely want to connect with all of you on LinkedIn, so make sure you send me a connection request. On my LinkedIn profile, by the way, just to give everyone a quick heads up, you might only be able to follow me. So if you want to connect with me, send me a connection request. Right next to where it says follow on my profile, there should be like an arrow thingy. So just click on that, and there should be an option to connect. So send me a connection request, but mention that you're connected with me because you were present at TOTECH, so that I make sure that I connect with you and accept the connection request, right? So folks, thanks so much, everyone. And look, I know it's trying times right now, Do not lose your enthusiasm. Do not, let any negativity get to you. Keep persisting in your job search. Figure out the steps, the action plan that you need to take. Treat your job search like it is a job in itself. You need to be planning out your day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or whatever time you have to dedicate to your job search. Set aside what you're going to be doing, accomplish it, set targets, set tasks that you're going to accomplish those tasks, and keep pushing through, folks. Don't lose hope. There's a lot of opportunities out there. You got to look at where the opportunities are, but keep pushing through, and make sure you connect with me. Happy to connect with all of you, and hope to keep adding value to all of you in your job search. All right, everyone, take care. God bless, and have a fantastic week. All right.